Vaheguru Ji Ka Khalsa, Vaheguru Ji Ki Fateh. Welcome to Trafalgar Square. Here we've had this amazing event taking place today of Vaisakhi in the square, where we're marking, the birth, or in that case, you may use the word when the Khalsa was Bargad, when the Khalsa was manifested over 300 years ago. And today we have these two lovely guests that are part of the organization, if we can call it that, Khalsa Fostering. Yes. Right? So the Khalsa, Guru Gobind Singh Ji started this Khalsa over 300 years ago more formally, and you guys have decided to use the word Khalsa Fostering. We'll go into that name just a little bit later on, but please first tell us about fostering and who you guys are and why you guys have got involved in this important seva.
I'll give a brief description about who I am. My name's Parminder. I am part of the team at Khalsa Fostering. We started Khalsa Fostering about 6 years ago due to, we wanted to basically be an organization which helps promote and educate foster parents, especially from the Sikh background, to become, to go into the fostering service, as there's a lack of Sikh foster parents. There's also been an increase in the number of children from the BAME community, Asian community, and Sikh children that have come into fostering. So we thought it was important for cultural matches, when if the worst happens and a Sikh child gets placed into care, that we've got the infrastructure to help a child go into a Sikh family. Because as bad as it is, when a kid goes into care, he gets ripped away from his family, he gets ripped away from his everything he's ever known, the whole cultural aspect, the whole religious aspect. So we wanted to be an organization that if a child does go into care, that the right support network is there for him, and there's some kind of, he identifies certain aspects when he goes into the foster home.
Okay.
I'm a Sevadar for Khalsa Fostering. I'll let Kiran give a brief description. What should I?
So I got involved with Khalsa Fostering about 3 years ago. Thank you. And my background is fostering, and I wanted to bring more light into that. We really should recruit foster carers from the Sikh community, but also the wider community as well. There's so many children in the care system that require foster parents, and the cause really hit my heart because the Sikh community have a lot of love, warmth and care to give, and they weren't coming forward for fostering. It was very limited in numbers. And so we wanted to spread the word through the Sikh community and then to the wider communities from there as well. So everybody helps one another and opens their homes for children to belong. Because once they're taken away from their own families, they need a place to belong and to be part of the family so they can grow into adulthood.
Fantastic. And before we go into more questions around fostering, if I can just ask, why did you decide to call it Khalsa Fostering? Why do you call it Sikh Fostering, Punjabi Fostering, Asian Fostering? Why Khalsa?
Well,
four names.
Originally, when it started, it was called Sikh Fostering. However, when the team sat down, they realized that actually a more meaningful name and a name which reflects what we're actually doing is probably Khalsa Fostering.
Yeah.
Only because there's two attributes of the word Khalsa which links directly to fostering.
Okay.
You have the fact of the selfless service. And when you're opening your home, when you become a foster parent, that's exactly what you are doing. You are basically doing seva, you are helping children in need. The second is the Khalsa also promotes protecting the vulnerable.
Yeah.
And when a child gets taken away from his family, when a child is put into care, he's in a very vulnerable situation. There's a lot of, you could call it a lot of emotional distress that the child goes through throughout the whole process. And this is exactly what we are doing. We're basically, when you become a foster parent, you are reflecting these attributes in what you're doing for these children.
And Benji, anything to add to that as well, in terms of Khalsa Fostering?
I think Perry said it all today. Yeah.
And I think even just a big thing is the idea of just having compassion. And you mentioned this earlier, we spoke offline about it's not just for Sikh kids, right?
No, it's not just for Sikh kids. We help kids from all different backgrounds. And I think that's an important message to get across. Only because the Khalsa isn't just protecting. We do like cultural matches. When Sikh kids come into care, we do like to match them up with Sikh parents. However, we also match kids from all different faiths to Sikh parents.
Yeah.
This is why I think it's quite important to portray that message, because we do get that message quite a lot. Do you guys only do Sikh children? We don't. We do children from all different faiths and backgrounds.
Yeah. Thank you for sharing that. And if we just go a little bit deeper in terms of, if you speak about Sikh kids,
Yeah.
that was quite shocking earlier. They said that when you put an announcement out, that not many Sikh or Khalsa came forward,
Yeah.
also in that case. Why do you think that's the case?
I think there's a taboo around the subject. There's a taboo around when Sikh kids go into care. A lot of people don't know Sikh kids are actually in care.
Yeah.
You know, we think that we live in perfect families, and when kids do go into care, it's never ever, the neighbor doesn't find out, basically.
Yeah.
And I think there's a massive taboo subject, and we've been trying to break that down for several years. But there's another reason is people don't know why Sikh kids go into care. Like, they don't understand. Now, kids can go into care directly or indirectly. If there's harm done to the child can end up in care. But there's also a flip side of indirect harm. If there's domestic violence, if there's alcohol issues, and these, as we know, these subjects are very taboo in our culture. And we don't really talk about it a lot.
Yeah.
That's why people don't think there's a need.
Yeah.
This is the one.
Basically, birth parents can end up in any situation at any time of their lives, for whatever reason that may be, from any background. And their child, unfortunately, has to go into care. And they really need to go to a loving home that's going to stick with that child, you know, much about stickability for that child.
And then another question is it actually easy to foster? Because a lot of times, like before conversations I had with you guys earlier, to me, it sounds like a very long, difficult process in order to even consider fostering a child.
Look, to be honest, Baji, it's not.
Yeah.
You got to open your heart and you've got to be real and know that you're going to get all the training and the support from whoever when you foster. And ultimately, when you decide to look after a child, everything else will fall into place. You'll get supported through each stage. And most foster parents, that's how they start off. And I've worked with many foster parents that have been foster parents for 20 years and had their children with them for 16 years. They become their children. They come back and see them. They go to their graduation. It's absolutely beautiful. It really is. And it's that belief that everybody's child is our child.
And there's another reason why Sikhs should become foster parents. We've had many cases of Sikh children who have ended up in care. They've decided, when they were with their birth families, they'd obviously decided to grow their kids. Some of these foster parents, if they've ended up in a non-Sikh household, they don't know how to comb the kids' kids, how to do a gutti. So they've not done it for 2 weeks. And as you can imagine, for a kid, that's traumatic itself. He's not had his hair combed.
Yeah.
They've not taken a puck off the kid for 2 weeks. That's a very big thing. This is why it's important to educate our own to become foster parents. And we've also, along our journey, we've also educated people from different backgrounds of how to look after a child.
Yeah.
If you receive a Sikh in your house.
Yeah.
You've
already touched upon it briefly, but what has been your biggest challenge doing the Seva at Khalsa Fostering?
I think our biggest challenge is it is a very big Seva of allowing a child from a different faith or a different background, or in fact a child that you don't know very well, to come into your home.
Yeah.
You're opening the dinner table for the kid. You're letting him sit with your family. You're giving him a room in your house.
Yeah.
And people think it's a very vulnerable space, as in they're not comfortable with allowing that to happen.
Yeah.
So we've got many people that are helping us with the Seva, but not many people who are happy to open the door. Yeah. And it is a very important, it's not a small thing, it's very big to open the door to a child that you don't know, essentially, or from a different background. But that's the biggest challenge, is breaking down the taboo of it's okay to foster.
Angie, you going to say something?
And it's about just creating a place for a child from any background to belong in your home. And that's what our background has always been about. It's about helping anybody from any background. And we do support that as well. We've helped many children from different backgrounds as well. So there may be Sikh foster parents, or there may be Hindu foster parents, but we've helped them look after children from all communities. And that's, but there's such a major shortage in the UK of foster parents. Phenomenal. At the moment, there's about 85,000 children in the care system.
Okay, 85,000.
Yeah.
85,000 children, yeah, and about 4,000 come from the Asian background. So that could be Sikh, Hindu, Muslim, but that number's increasing year on year. Yeah.
Yes, significantly increasing.
Right.
And we don't have the foster parents that are, and I think also people think that we don't know how to do this. What if something happens? There's always going to be support there. You just got to open your heart and say, I'm going to stick with this child, like you would with your own children.
Yeah. Well, before I ask a few more questions, the Seva you guys are doing is amazing. And even just the qualities of, the Khalsa, or that any human should embody, in terms of like compassion, love. Like it's amazing to see what you guys are doing. So please, continue doing the Seva, and however much we can all support and do our dasa, we will do. I spoke about the most difficult part of doing the Seva. What would you say is the most rewarding part of doing the Seva?
I think the rewarding part that I've personally seen along my journey in while I've been with Khalsa Fostering is looking at the progress the children make in the houses that we've basically placed the children sometimes. It's watching them flourish, watching them, giving them a safe space. And once they're in a safe space, they flourish.
Yeah.
We've had children come into care in very difficult circumstances. Children who don't speak, who are very secluded, who are basically, they don't know how to communicate with anyone, but we've changed it. They've even been malnutrition, for example. They've not had the right food. They've been really neglected. And it's changing it within a short amount of time of watching these kids flourish.
Mm-hmm.
That's been very rewarding. What about for you?
The small steps that children make in care is actually a very big thing for children in general. It's like us as well. When we make a small step towards our goal, and each day we're making another small step, that is actually something so beautiful to watch. And I can't ever put any price on that. Just, and children do go back and forward in their development and in their behaviors, but ultimately they're always slowly moving forward because they're beginning to trust. And trust can be a difficult thing for both adults and children. But ultimately, once it's built, it's there and it's beautiful to watch.
Fantastic. And we did touch upon it briefly earlier, about just a bit more about Khalsa Fostering itself as an organization. Is it just a random organization? Are you accredited?
Okay.
Just a bit more about that so people can see the legitimacy of the great Seva you guys are doing.
So Khalsa Fostering was a organization which was set up in 2020. It's set up as a community interest company at this moment in time.
Yeah.
However, we've got members of the team who have gone through the Ofsted process, and we operate under another name called Love to Foster, which is actually a registered fostering agency with Ofsted. So we do the checks. The Love to Foster organization, they do the recruitment, they do the checks, and they do the placements as well. So we have progressed along the journey.
Yes. And we recruit carers from all different backgrounds. Absolutely. But we are still really focused on
cultural
matches, bringing carers in from the Sikh community to allow them to say, look, here's a space. And we've also got specialities in our team that support the faith and every community, to be very honest, because that's really what we're about. That's who we are. We're here to make a difference to everyone's life, be it an adult, be it a child, and whoever works with us will find that.
Yeah. Thank you so much. And the final question is, how can people find you? Is this website? Is it social media?
Social media, Instagram is probably the best way. It's Khalsa Fostering. So yeah, if anyone got any messages or questions, feel free to send.
And how can people get involved? I guess there's different levels to it in terms of becoming a volunteer, becoming a carer. If somebody's really interested and they've seen the great work and they want to get involved in some sort of way, what would you guys say?
They can drop us a message on Instagram, or we always have Seva for marketing, raising awareness.
Yeah.
So there's many different forms of Seva, even helping foster parents who may have a Sikh kid placed with them, but they're not from the Sikh background.
Yeah.
Even supporting them along their journey. There's always Seva available, and there's lots of it.
Thank you. Well, thank you so much, guys. What we'll do before we finish off, open it up to the Sangat out here. Any questions or any comments? Hanji Benji.
So the question was, how do we safeguard children? How do we make the right match between the foster carer and the child? So ultimately, we look at the skill base of the foster carer. They're trained. They've got safeguarding training as well. And we look at the child's needs as well. And then we match the child's needs to the foster carer as well. But like I said when I was speaking earlier, it's about someone totally being selfless and completely opening their heart. And we don't know what child is going to walk through the door. So if someone was going to write about you on paperwork, but you walked in the door, you might be a different person, if that makes sense. It's the same with children. It's quite hard to describe somebody, really who they are on a bit of paper. So it's actually, once a child walks through the door, is, will you love them? Will you take care of them? Will you be there for them? Will you be there for them here, even if they swear at you? Even if they don't like you initially? Because it takes time for a child to settle. It takes even as an adult, when we're pulled away from the people that we love and care, or our basic needs have been pulled away, we want a place where we belong. And that's what we create at Khalsa Fostering and Love to Foster.
Thank you. Any other questions?
So I think you made a connection with my husband, Baljeet from Reading.
Oh, brilliant. Yes.
We're ready.
Yep.
We weren't ready when my husband said to me, we're going to do it. But I'm ready now through my Sikhi path.
Brilliant.
So I got Connect.
Yes.
Yeah, we got the time, space, effort. We got time. That's the biggest thing. Dasani, Daima. We're ready now. So I was meant to be here today without any pre-planning to meet obviously yourself and the lovely Sangat. And I couldn't be more happier.
Manju, I'm amazed to hear that. And it's people like you that will take the message forward and further. Because honestly, we really do need more carers that will make a difference. And one thing I can truly say is that it will make a phenomenal difference to your lives as well. Phenomenal. If I could say one thing, I've been around in this work for 35 years. I've devoted my whole life to this work. And the difference that it's made to me, I couldn't put it in words. I really couldn't. I really look forward to working with you.
Absolutely. It's that void. I'm 56. It's that void that I've carried with me for 30 years. I'm ready to fill it, but I feel I can have energy, time, effort, and be healthy to look after a child if Vaheguru Maharaj di hukam hoga. And I believe it is.
And everything's possible. Anyone can come from any background. You can have a disability. You could have challenging needs yourself.
Yeah.
It's how we support you. It's how everybody around you supports you. We can, and that's the beauty of oneness, coming together. Like they say, united you stand, divided you fall.
Yeah. And I think the biggest issue I had was, what support would I get? Would I be on my own? Looking after kids for a couple of hours is different. Would I be in a mental state that I couldn't cope with? But the fact that with this question that was asked, and also the reassurance you've given, I feel that I'll have a family with all of you that can create my own family.
And that's what we've actually created. Everyone that's is our carer is a family. And there's lots of training available. There's going to be lots of support.
Thank you so much. Final question from anyone? No. Okay, well, thank you so much, guys, for coming and going. We'll put our links in the description to the great Seva you're doing.
Thank you.
And please continue. And we do our ardas that Guru Sahib Ji keeps you guys in Chardi Kala. But thank you so much.
Thank you.
Vaiguru Ji Ka Khalsa, Vaiguru Ji Ki Fateh.